In the spring of 2020, in a vast windowless building the size of 20 football fields on the plains outside Des Moines, Iowa, one of the largest supercomputers ever built crackled to life. The supercomputer was made up of rack upon rack of specialized computer chips, a kind originally developed to handle the intensive work of rendering graphics in video games. More than 10,000 of the chips were yoked together, connecting with high-speed fiber optic cabling. The data center belonged to Microsoft, and it cost hundreds of millions of dollars to construct. But the supercomputer was designed to serve the needs of a small startup from San Francisco that, at the time, few people outside the niche computer science field known as artificial intelligence had ever heard of. It was called OpenAI. Microsoft had invested $1 billion in OpenAI in July 2019 to gain access to its technology. As part of the deal, Microsoft promised to build this supercomputer. For the next 34 days, the supercomputer worked around the clock, training one of the largest pieces of AI software ever developed. The software could encode the relationship between 175 billion data points. OpenAI fed this AI software text more than 2.5 billion web pages collected over a decade of web crawling, millions of Reddit conversations, tens of thousands of books, and all of Wikipedia. The software's objective was to create a map of the relationships between all of the words in that vast data set. This statistical map would allow it to take any arbitrary text sequence and predict the next most likely word. By doing so, it could output many paragraphs in a variety of genres and styles that were almost indistinguishable from human writing. OpenAI called the software GPT-3, and its debut in June 2020 stunned computer scientists. Never before had software been so capable of writing. GPT-3 could do far more than just assemble prose and poetry. It could also code. It could answer factual questions. It was capable of reading comprehension and summarization. It could determine the sentiment of a piece of writing. It could translate between English and French and German, and many other languages. It could answer some questions involving common sense reasoning. In fact, it could perform dozens of language-related tasks, even though it had only ever been trained to predict the next word in a sequence. It did all this based on instructions that were conversational, the way you would speak to a person. Scientists call this natural language to differentiate it from computer code. The potential of GPT-3 convinced Satya Nadella, Microsoft's chief executive, to quietly double and then triple his initial $1 billion investment in the small San Francisco AI lab. GPT-3 would, in turn, lead 2 years later to ChatGPT.